Guys, like, comment, subscribe, share the video, especially if you love college football as much as I do. As far as USC and LSU are concerned, this was a really hard game for me to pick just because they were a lot like each other last year. And they're both walking into similar situations this year. Coming off of actually the top two picks of the draft, both quarterbacks, Jaden Daniels from LSU and Caleb Williams from USC. They're both gone now. They're both in the NFL. Both were great, by the way. Both had electric offenses and both had pretty not so great defenses. So both kind of underachieved last year. And even LSU, I know they won 10 games, but the Florida State game was pretty embarrassing because of their defense. And Ole Miss was winnable, but they still gave up 50-something points. And again, the defense let them down against Alabama. You know, especially them. And USC, and that's even worse. But both are working new quarterbacks. Both apparently have new defensive coordinators. And both have coaches that have similar backgrounds. Both have made the playoffs and failed to win a playoff game. But both coaches are very successful. Obviously, Brian Kelly with Notre Dame. Excuse me. And Lincoln Riley with Oklahoma for a long time before he went to USC. And both have won some games, have had back-to-back winning seasons with their respective programs. I know USC has kind of been a disappointment, but at the same time, an 8-win season isn't all that bad, especially a bowl game, a bowl win over a top 15 Louisville team. That's pretty good. So as far as picking a winner, it came down to location in this game. Again, I do believe LSU's defense will be a lot better than what it's been. They've always got athletes. He went out and got a new defensive coordinator. Anything is better than what he just had this past year. So I do, Notre Dame, when he was at Notre Dame, Brian Kelly had one bad year. They were 4-8 one year. And that's because of the defense, the defensive coordinator. He ended up hiring another defensive coordinator the following year. And Notre Dame only lost 2 or 3 games the following year. And they won 10, 11 games, whatever it was. So that's a really good year for him. And I think you'll see about the same thing with LSU this year. But I believe the offense will still play really well. Just not as explosive without Jaden Daniels. But still really good. I'm going to have to lean toward USC. And again, I'm not necessarily saying USC's defense is about to be elite or anything like that. But Coach Riley knows that there's a lot of pressure for him. There's a lot of pressure for both coaches. But in terms of more pressure, USC has the more pressure, in my opinion, just because this past season for them was really bad, considering the talent, considering they were a top 10 team at one point, considering they were 6-0 at one point. And Lincoln Riley's had a lot of heat under him. And again, Brian Kelly, I'm not saying he doesn't have any heat on him, considering he's at LSU, and he's going to be the first coach that hasn't won a national championship in the last few coaches for LSU. But my point is, with Lincoln Riley, he really cannot afford to disappoint more than Brian Kelly can. So because of that, and because this game is basically closer to USC, it's basically more of a home game for USC than it is LSU, and because Brian Kelly has dropped back-to-back home season openers anyway, I'm going to have to go with USC to win this game in a very close one. A higher scoring game, and people are going to think, oh, well, LSU's defense has been fixed, but you forget USC and Lincoln Riley, a lot of elite offensive talent over there. It could put up points against almost anybody. So while I do think LSU's defense will be a lot better this year, you probably won't see it in the first game. But if you go back to my season prediction, I actually have LSU having double-digit wins this year. And with Nick Saban gone from Alabama, and I think, again, LSU's defense will be a lot better. The offense probably not as explosive, but still really good. I don't see any reason as to why LSU won't be a better team than what they were last year. And again, I also had USC having double-digit wins. But they'll start with a big win over LSU.